Hi guys, I just want to weigh in on the whole Star Wars controversy these days. This is with Kelly Marie Tran has recently left Instagram or Twitter or something like that because she's been getting all the hate. And a lot of people are asking all these questions: Why is this happening? Why are the Star Wars fans so angry? And I feel no one's really answered that perfectly. There's been a lot of videos out there saying why The Last Jedi is mainly the problem. And I'll agree to an extent, but I think that there are other factors to kind of consider. So I'm going to quickly go over a brief history of what fans have gone through and why they are at the stage they're at today. Now, firstly, you get these three films called Star Wars, this trilogy that is absolutely amazing. It basically holds up all of the sci-fi genre by itself. I've been watching them for a couple of months now, but I watched just like a clip on about a kid watching, the twist that Darth Vader is Luke's father, and just hearing it, you just can realize, man, those films are awesome. They're just so good. So that has instantly, fans are born. They latch onto this great thing called Star Wars, which anybody can watch and go, yeah, that's amazing. And there's such a huge universe and so many possibilities. So let's start off with the fans are absolutely out of their minds, crazy about Star Wars, the best fans in the world. Later on, George Lucas, seen as God by many Star Wars, says we're going to do the prequels. All the Star Wars fans go crazy. Go, yes, we've heard so much about how Darth Vader became who he was. We had so many questions. Now we're going to be able to see it. We're going to get three more Star Wars films from the guy. They're going to be just as awesome. This is exactly what we wanted. The Phantom Menace comes around. People are going, yeah, that was good. It was kind of good. But then there are questions. There are little things like, and just before that, George Lucas released the original trilogy, and he put the digital remastered versions. Now, all of this happened, and a lot of people thought it was good at the time. Sorry. And then after a while, they kind of realized it wasn't as good. So you get Attack of the Clones comes out, instantly everyone's like, oh yeah, that was pretty good. Then the third one comes out, I think that was a pretty good trilogy. I kind of like the prequels. But somehow everyone's kind of in denial. The fact that Star Wars could be bad doesn't really register with a lot of these fans. And after a while, after a couple of years, people go, no, Jar Jar Binks was stupid. That kid was annoying in that film. There was way too much CGI. This didn't feel at all like the old films. And basically, after years of denial, Star Wars fans realized they were heartbroken. You had three awesome films that will always hold up in time, and then you've got this counter part to it, which are these three dreaded prequels that are so lame and so fake and so poorly written and done that we've got three good against three bad in the franchise. This is not just an awesome fan base, an awesome trilogy to follow. It's got its problems. Now, this has muddled a lot of fans. A couple of fans fell off. A couple of fans just separated the two and said, all right, we'll just focus on the main trilogy. That's what we really like. That's our gospel. These other prequels, we'll acknowledge them, but we're not really big fans of them. So that's where it's at. Then Lucas sells Star Wars to Disney for an amazing amount of money. And don't get any part of it wrong that George Lucas only wants the money. He got sick of the fandom years ago. He just wanted money. That's why he made those new films. So, Star Wars is bought by Disney, and a lot of people are a bit skeptical about it. Like, oh, it's not George Lucas. It's going to be made by these other people. Apparently, there's another third trilogy after the original trilogy that they're going to do. There's a reasonable amount of excitement. First trailer hits, people are blown away. Like, actually, this could be good. This might be actually really good. It has that same kind of feeling. J.J. Abrams, who's a competent director, is behind it. He revived the Star Trek franchise that many people loved. So, Star Wars The Force Awakens hits, and it's a big smash. People loved it. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, no, tried to copy the A New Hope too much, and it think I was a Mary Sue, whatever the hell that means. These are very small nitpicking arguments because I tell you, most people love this film. You know why? Because it made over $2 billion at the box office, and you don't go see a film once for that to happen. You go see it multiple times. You go see it 2, 3, I think I saw it about 4 times myself. It is an awesome film. And what it did is that it told old Star Wars fans that may have left from the prequels that Star Wars is good again. We've got a 4th film now we've got 4 great films in the franchise, 3 bad ones. Now, keep coming back to that, how there is good versus bad, because that's how basically the Star Wars fans will feel, and that's how you can measure them. So, Force Awakens is awesome. People are like, oh, this is great. Disney know what they're doing. They made Star Wars feel like Star Wars again. Let's get back into it. All the Star Wars fans come back into it. Now you have these other solo Star Wars films, like Rogue One that comes out a year later, and that was pretty moderate. Now that wasn't Netflix, wasn't great. It was a competent film. It was middle of the road for me. I personally didn't like it, but it didn't tarnish the Star Wars name. It just wasn't exactly everyone's cup of tea. Some people liked it, so people middle of the road. So that fits dead in the middle in terms of the good and the bad, which is all right. Now, after that, The Last Jedi is starting to happen, and people are getting more excited because we've got these new characters that we're ready to follow. We've got these new storylines we're ready to follow. That excitement we've kind of given over. We're kind of trusting Disney to this point. Don't worry about those single Star Wars films. They're experiments. We can like them, we can not like them. They expand the story. It's just fun. Sorry. And it's by Rian Johnson, who at the time we were all very excited for, because he did Looper beforehand. He did a couple of episodes of Breaking Bad. He did some good stuff, and we were ready to be surprised. We were ready for the next Empire Strikes Back kind of film. Now, when it hits, firstly, there were some people that were like, yeah, it was good. And believe me, there was a wave of good reviews that came in that I feel like are bought and paid for by Disney. Now, that's a lot of kind of, suspicious kind of thinking, but it's just what a lot of films do. They put out a lot of good press before a film comes out to help sell tickets. So they go, oh yeah, it's doing really well, it's sold more. It's just how the journalism and Hollywood are kind of working together these days, because they both want to see these films be successful. Now, it hits, and people quickly realize they're no longer in that denial phase where they go, no, that was bad, that shouldn't have happened, I'm not ready to be heartbroken again, and then they're ready to turn their hate. So instantly, this film is so bad and ruins so many of the key storylines and characters that we were so hopeful for The Force Awakens, that everyone quickly turns on this film in particular. There was a big petition to have it removed from the canon, because you keep it in there, it just destroys all the excitement that we had, because we want to be excited to go see another Star Wars films. So The Last Jedi is a bad film. It's an abomination. I think what they were trying to do is that they listened too much to the fans about the first film, and they said, oh, it was too much like A New Hope, and it was repeating old storylines and that. And I think Disney were like, okay, let's throw out the original script. Let's do something no one's ready for. And it goes against convention. It does this with the character, because that's what Star Wars fans seem to want to like. Trust me, Hollywood, don't listen to fans. They don't know what they want. Sorry. Anyway, Star Wars The Last Jedi, terrible. Ruins the plot points, destroys the characters. It is easily the worst Star Wars film ever made. And that's where the hate starts. Now, what you have is 4 good films, 4 pretty bad films, 1 exceedingly bad film that kind of ruins some of the other films, and then you've got this mediocre film in the middle. So really it's 4-5. What it has done, it's shaken the balance, it's made Star Wars shit again. And then we have Solo that has just come out recently, and that needed to be great. It needed to be great. People gave it a little bit of a hope, but because The Last Jedi was so bad and kind of said, Disney, you know that you've done 2 bad out of 3. I don't think you know what's going on, and it was mediocre, and it had so much troubled production. There was no one really had too high hopes for it, but for Disney, they needed to make it great, and they didn't. It was run of the mill. So now you have 4 good films and 4 bad films and 2 mediocre films. I wouldn't say Solo is terrible, it's just run of the mill. So that's where Star Wars fans are right now. They've kind of given up on the franchise. They've been heartbroken twice. We've only got 4 great films that we can take away, and even The Force Awakens in a lot of people's minds is a bit shaky. They're like, oh, it's kind of tied to The Last Jedi, it's too much heartbreak to watch because the story can't continue that well. Even if J.J. Abrams makes Episode 9 fantastic, which he's probably capable of, people don't really care about that storyline as much, and those characters. Like Kylo Ren was such a formidable enemy in the first film. Now He's just seen as this wussy kind of emo kid. So even if he does that, that's what, five good films, six bad films. It still doesn't balance out, and all these other things. It just proves that people don't trust Disney with the franchise right now. I know personally how to get them out of the mess, and it's a big risk. But I won't share that right now. I'll sell it to Disney for millions and millions of dollars if I could. But yeah, that's why Star Wars fans are so upset, so hate-filled. That's why they see Kelly Marie Tran, they say, no, you weren't just an annoying character in that film, you ruined Star Wars. There's a lot more weight to it because it is such a great franchise and it means so much to us. It's like the ultimate story of good versus evil. It should be, it's easily going to be throughout a human history. It's going to transcend many centuries. It's going to be like Homer's Iliad back in ancient Greece or ancient Persia. So yeah, that's where they are. If you ever want to kind of consider what fans are feeling and where the franchise is at, just think 4 good films, 6 bad to average films, and yeah, that's it. So that's my rant. I'll let you get on with your day.